time in New York, just came here. I'm like 22 and, my dream was like kind of shaking
reality
at
versus
that moment.
expectations.
Because then they hire not just because of your features or your talents, but because you're like a nice person. And
It's
in
American
general,
thing.
yeah, it is an American thing. They want like nice people around who doesn't really complain much and just, overgrown the modeling and just started being someone bigger. Now you can see a lot more diversity. It is a positive change, in my opinion, as long as it stays in the healthy borders. Like this season, I enjoyed the Fashion Week a lot. Marc Jacobs' after party invitation got leaked in a TikTok, and hundreds of people just appeared at the venue, and the people who were like really invited could not get in. It was a huge line. So that's like an oddness of this industry. If you want to go to like a higher level, then you have to express yourself in a really interesting artistic way. You grow as well. Like nobody gonna trust you like a huge campaign before you go through all this.
Hi, this is She Did It Show, and I'm your host, Daria Mudrova. Today, I'm so happy to introduce you our guest, charming and talented Ana Tess. Ana is a stylist, journalist, and model in New York City and Los Angeles. She actually switched focus in her career from modeling to styling, and her fashion editorial work appeared in numerous worldwide publications as Vogue, Elle, Harper's Bazaar, L'Officiel, and many other media outlets. Among her clients, there are such brands as Amazon, Target, Away, Net-a-Porter, and many other amazing brands. She actually was working with such celebrities as Kyle Maclachlan and Mia Moretti. And she is the owner of Visa for Extraordinary Talents in the US. And I'm so happy to see you today in our studio. Ana, thank you so much for joining and for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would love to talk with you today about your amazing experience. Actually, I love the fact that you switched your career and you've been successful in modeling. Now you're successful as a stylist and you do journalism. And you're living in New York City. How your journey started here? Tell a little bit more maybe about your previous background, and then we jump more deep to your professional path here, how it's all going.
I came here as a model almost 9 years ago, and I graduated my university, and I have a major in journalism back in Moscow, Russia. That's where I'm from. And after graduation, I just decided to kind of give another chance to my modeling career, because during my university, I couldn't really travel for pretty long periods of time because I was studying in one of the most major schools in the country. It's called Lomonosov Moscow State University. And I really loved it and enjoyed, and I actually worked there during my university years. So I like my first internship was actually in Condé Nast in Russia. I was working at Tatler magazine, and back then I kind of started my fashion career. And that was like, my first kind of outlet and exposure to fashion besides modeling, which I started earlier at 15.
Wow.
Yeah, and Yeah, it was like actually a great time in Moscow back then because a lot of foreign designers came, like Giorgio Armani, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Costume National at that time was a good brand, like from Italy. But anyway, like, so it was kind of like a good times to be there, and like a lot of fashion kind of it girls were popular abroad, and they were doing like the first steps in a street style, and like Tommy Ton was photographing them for Vogue, and they were featured in W magazine. So it was kind of a good time for fashion in Russia back then, when I was like, you know, from like 15 to like my early 20s. But then, like, you know, I started traveling abroad too when I turned 18, and I went here to New York to be with my agency, but I didn't stay and I didn't work at that time because I was too young, and then, like, you know, it's kind of like I've got some experience, but then it wasn't like kind of serious before I kind of moved here. But then, like, you know, I traveled to Milan and Paris, Shanghai, like all around Europe, London. So I've been around, and I felt that I kind of want to move to the place where I want to succeed. And New York was always kind of a home for me for some reason. Like, you know, the first time I came here at 18, I felt something very touching in this place, and I always carried like that dream through all those years, that I just want to try and like live here and, you know, do my career and my life and establish in New York. Yeah, so I came here, but you know, the start wasn't really great, I would say.
Yeah, actually we'll talk about this too. I would love to a little bit go back to your educational background in Moscow. I know that you've been studying, like you mentioned, in this Lomonosov University, which is the best university in Russia. Why did you decide, like, you've been studying journalism, and why did you decide just to focus on fashion and just to go this modeling career? How that happened first time? What was?
I mean, I was when I was young, like everyone was pointing on my features and saying that I look like a model. So I just basically went to modeling school back there, and you know, I just like I've never walked on heels before, like 15 years old, and I kind of borrowed a pair of Cassidy heels from my mom, and like I kind of like, you know, it was like a very kind of funny walk I did. But anyway, so I learned how to walk on heels.
Yeah, we all love like this mother's shoes. Yeah,
yeah, mother's shoes, which were like, you know, a size bigger than my feet, and I always wanted to be a fashion editor, like in the same time. You know, I was like, I was waiting for each month to buy Vogue magazine, and you know, I was like carrying it as a Bible. Like, I mean, still Vogue kind of have a value for me. I know that times are kind of changed and everything, but I think I still kind of carry that dream to, like, you know, work for that publication, because it was just so, I don't know, it's not idealistic, but like it's kind of like a statement of fashion for me still, although, like, you know, I like some, you know, other new publications, but it's kind of, yeah, it's still like my dream, which I haven't really achieved. So it's
But
like in my
you
bucket.
have publications in Vogue.
Yeah, I
not
did.
In,
Yeah,
in one
yeah, I
country.
did, but not in Vogue US.
Oh, okay. Speaking about Vogue.
So yeah, I haven't done like Vogue US or like British Vogue or French Vogue.
But you did Vogue Mexico.
No, I did
Oh.
the. I mean, I was writing for Russian Vogue
For
before
Russian Vogue, right,
they
yeah.
closed, and I did some editorials for them, but like not the covers yet.
Yet.
Yeah, and I
But,
did
I
the
mean-
story for Italian Vogue as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's still a great achievement.
It is, yeah, but I mean, I want the cover. I always want more, kind of. Yeah, and you know, I wanted to be a fashion editor and I also look like a model, so I kind of did both.
But
And
how did you manage to do everything, like studying, working at Tatler, traveling and doing modeling at all the same time? How was your life looked like at the period?
I mean, in general, I think I like combining many things at one time. I have a lot of energy, and if I really love something, then I don't feel like this is a job. Yeah, I can like get tired, and sometimes like when you have so many shoots
Did
and
you
you
so
like have like,
inspired towards?
but yeah, you just excited to like go on a trip somewhere and you know, like prep for something, for a job, editorial, like it's interesting talents, and then you like catching up on sleep in between. And I mean, it could be tiring, and like I'm not saying that it's always like that. Sometimes you have like more quiet periods, and sometimes it's just more kind of chaotic and active. But I like when I'm busy. I feel like a lot of joy out of this, and yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, so actually you signed up with New York City modeling agency, and you already was working a lot. You've been traveling before, you've been in Europe, and then you decided to sign up with New York City modeling agency. How that happened?
That happened when I was in Moscow, and usually how it works, your mother agent submit your images to the different agencies, and some agencies, they like you, and then you kind of like, you know, choose the best one, and then, you know, they like invite you to
work, yeah.
to work, yeah. And at that time, like in order to come to America, you need the work visa. So they did the O1 visa for me, and like, you know, you have to provide like some letters and publications and everything. And I've had all of this because I was working as a model for a long period of time by that time. Yeah, and you know, I just went to the embassy and got my visa.
That's quite early, yeah. So actually, you already started to work in New York City, and then you decided to move here more permanently and to work more after your education in that field. And tell about your impressions about New York City. First time moving to here to work. Seriously, how was that?
I mean, yeah, I expected that it's gonna be like. I mean, I don't even think I've had any expectations, to be honest. I just like packed my bags. I had like 2 suitcases, and I still have that image in JFK, you know, when I arrived. Like 1 carry-on and 2 suitcases, because back then you could, you know, check in 2 suitcases for free.
Oh yeah, that's you could travel like, easily.
Yeah, you could travel easily too for kind of.
Oh my gosh, it was such a time I've been living.
Yeah, so I came and I've had a modest apartment in Bushwick on Morgan Avenue. And I can't really say that it was the most trendy neighborhood like 9 years ago. It was kind of upcoming. But it still was really industrial. Like Williamsburg was really cool. Like, you know, it's kind of started like to be like this cool hipster place with the nice coffee shops and everything.
Like
but
Bushwick now,
but
right?
but like Bushwick now. But back then it wasn't, and there was like literally nothing there. Like one coffee shop, like I think Swallow or something.
And the train, this like.
And I mean the train with delays, and it was pretty annoying. But like. The fact was that I was sharing this loft apartment with 3 people. It was like kind of 2 rooms, but the wall wasn't really going to the ceiling. So it was pretty ugly.
Like
and
it's like a loft, and they didn't separate.
Yeah, the loft, and they kind of did the separation. So we had like kind of a little living room situation and the kitchen, and then like those 2 kind of rooms. And it was 2 boys in one room, and I was sharing it with the girl who was like living there for a long time, I think, because she had a lot of stuff. And yeah, like it was a winter, and I came right before the snowstorm, unprepared, and yeah, I guess, you know, I've been before in New York, and the winters weren't that severe, and I thought it's just gonna be fine, but you know, I kind of
snowstorms in New York is just something.
Now I know that it's that you got to be prepared. Like
it's now
like
I
have
Russia.
everything for sure. But yeah, our heater got broke, and it was like I think a day or 2 before the snowstorm, and I called my agent and I said, "Hi, like our heater got broke," but he said, "It's not my problem, like call your super." And I didn't really understand, you know, the whole process, because I never never lived, you know, in New York, like kind of like, you know,
quite
like
an experience.
It is. And then I called the super, and they said that they cannot come and bring the new heater before the snowstorm. They can just, you know, it would be like in a few days. And it was freezing cold, because in the loft you have such a thin glass windows, and they were not really sealed properly, and it was a huge place, you know, without walls. So it was freezing cold. I started coughing, and I thought I was just gonna die because of pneumonia. And like, I'm in New York, you know, just came here. I'm like 22, and you know, my dream was like kind of shaking
reality
at
versus
that moment.
expectations.
Yeah, and I've had like literally no money, and
but
and
your
then I
agency, like,
yeah, they didn't care at all. Like,
it should be their responsibility, I guess, just to manage proper.
Yeah, it wasn't really the greatest experience.
What's
they
the
weren't
model?
really-
What's the name of this model agency?
I mean, it was a few models. I know that now they became a bit better. Like, I've heard like better stories that they changed and everything, but
management style.
yeah, but back then it wasn't, and they weren't really nice to me. Although, like, I know I came, like, you know, with some sweets, like, just to be nice, like, and everything, but I mean, it is what it is. It's my experience, and I just bought like a very small kind of grill type heater, and I put it right in front of my head, and I was sleeping next to that heater for, you know, like almost a week before they really fixed the heater.
Oh my gosh.
And I was coughing, and I said, I'm gonna die, and it's kind of like, because it was like an open heater, and you can see like how it like was turning red, and it was like
it's
literally like a
for life.
grill.
I mean,
Yeah,
just,
I was risking everything to not die.
But you
basically.
survived for like a snowstorm.
I know,
First
and it's
snowstorm
like,
just came.
and I remember like I was calling my mom, and she was like, "Are
Where
you sure
you
you
are?
can Are you sure?" I was like, "Oh my god."
Oh my gosh! But yeah, the experience for international models seems like at the first stage is rough.
yeah, and like
Yeah,
like
because
the
you just
first
come, you don't know anything, and you're
the
in the hands
first
of the
year was-
model agency. Which
yeah, the
should
first
take care.
year was really hard because then like I've had like it was that kind of arrangement of apartment when you like go out and kind of don't pay for the apartment, and then I did that for a few months before I started like earning in my pocket for the modeling jobs, and like I was able to rent like my not like my own space, but I was like still sharing it with someone because that's like a New York kind of style. Like
Friends.
sharing a, yeah, like a studio with the girl, and yeah, and then it just was like kind of growing situation. But yeah, I made like roommates and kind of entering all this.
I know like there are some promoters who can help you with some place to live. And
Yeah. That
go like
it was
party.
tough because I don't like I mean I don't really like doing something when I don't want to do it, and I wasn't happy, you know, and I'm pretty like emotional person, so sometimes I was just not in the mood to do that, and I still
go
have
out,
to,
yeah.
And I remember that guy, he was really nice actually. His name was Victor, and yeah, he was like talking to me. He's like, if you have to be like, you know, a bit more fun in those places. Yeah, you have to like, you know, not entertain people, just to be like, you know,
friendly,
friendly in a good
at least
mood.
speaking with people.
And I think a lot of Russian people who come to America in the first like year or two, like they still have this kind of moody attitude, yeah, and like you learn how to smile, how to be nice to people,
small talk at least,
how to like give compliments.
How are you? It's just like the thing.
Even at jobs, like I think I didn't really hold some clients in the beginning because I wasn't that chatty, like open person. Like it took me some time to open up and understand what you have to do at the job. Like nobody kind of explained you that.
That's true.
And it's actually important for a model from somewhere, you know, to be like nice and like chat with the client, but not too much, and have like this kind of balance, yeah, of this behavior.
Being friendly, being open. It's not only to model, like I mean, in
anything, even a stylist. Yeah, you like, because then they hire not just because of your features or your talents, but because you're like a nice person, and
it's
in
American
general,
thing.
yeah, it is an American thing. Like they want like nice people around who doesn't really complain much. And I mean, like, you know, there are like complaints, but like small talk complaints, like everyone can like kind of gossip about things, but it's still like in the friendly way. They don't really like when you like pushy and aggressive and like asking for something in very arrogant way.
It's actually speaking about differences working in the US and Eastern Europe, and when actually you still meet people from Eastern Europe sometime in the New York City, you can meet this type of behavior and you understand that it's not like rudeness, it's just mentality. Yeah,
but I mean, at this point, it's actually weird to me.
When you got used to that new style, you're just like, why you do that?
I actually feel uncomfortable and a bit ashamed of the person if they start behaving in this kind of way, because now
we're like cool and you're, I don't know.
Yeah, like I think to be more kind of relaxed and open and understanding is more important.
Yeah, we just actually talked with you recently about New York Fashion Week, and you've been sharing some experiences on this show. Yeah, and you met lots of people there, lots of brands from different countries, different styles, and you have actually the huge experience working with different type of people. And you start to understand more. Yeah, but when people come, they just don't know. They have to be taught. It's like they just don't know, probably because they got used to that style there, and that's normal there. Because if you smile too much, but people probably professionally will think something wrong with you. I mean, it's just different. But I agree with you. I also prefer like American style when I work, and I like when people are open, chatty, and it's easier. It feels better.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking about the fashion industry, and I'm sure that there are different people, but to keep your mental health and it's an important part as well, just to be at the right mindset. And how do you manage that?
I meditate every day, and I practice Kundalini yoga a few times a week, which includes the breath work, Kriya, like some relaxation time, Shavasana, and then meditation. But like if I'm not doing the whole circuit, I would just start my day with like 10 minutes meditation.
I love that.
And I try to exercise also like pretty often, but because my schedule is kind of chaotic sometimes, like it really depends. Like, you know, in some mornings you feel like you just want to lay in your bed a bit longer.
Under the carpet.
But I also cycle every day, and I enjoy the city bike, like you know, wherever I can go, like I just cycle.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah.
City bikes.
But I mean I do a lot of things actually to maintain like the
physical and mental
health.
That's
sound meditations, and like I play sound myself, something grounding, because I have like, you know, this energy, and I'm a very active person, so I found for myself that I need something grounding. So I use like grounding instruments like gong, shamanic drum, or shri box. So it's kind of balancing this energy. And when you have this like monkey mind, especially in the evenings when you are not able to calm yourself down and like put yourself to sleep, it's good to like either listen to something very grounding or play yourself or something.
How do you, like, I know there are some clubs, right, meditation like places where you can meet people, like what would you recommend if someone is looking for some cool start to meditate, to learn something, maybe something online, some YouTube?
I like, I mean, online, there are like a lot of actually people who like sing and like play, play the instruments, and like maybe like some medicine songs, and it's always like a good start. But then there, like I like a Hari tree, that's Kundalini yoga place, and they do have sound meditations and yoga practices and breath works. There's also a happy place at Bavary, and they have like holotropic breath work and also sound and some different types of exercises and frequency.
I've been there.
Where
it's a nice place actually. On your birthday.
Where I hosted my birthday.
Yeah, it was so nice.
They have like a huge dome, and it's very cozy, and they have a holotropic breath work classes.
That's cool. Yeah. Thank you. Just for someone will be useful who is looking.
I mean, I think that it's a great tool, and breath is what we is like we start our life with the breath, you know, and the moment we don't breathe, we die. So this is actually our tool, which a lot of people don't use, and we don't like breathe properly. if you don't know how. But yeah, a lot of breath works, they can activate, the bloodstreams and, activate the energies and move, move your body cells in a good way.
Yeah, actually, I would a little bit speak more about your modeling experience, and I know like there are so many different topics people discuss now, like canceled photographers and lots of difficult situations in the workplace, model face. Like, just did you face any like difficult situation in the workplace being a model? How is your experience with that?
I mean, I got lucky to not really get into like deep kind of like harassment, abuse or something. Like, I was pretty smart girl, like to start with, but still, I think you try to trust people in the industry, and you probably don't know some things. And when I was younger, I was trying to do almost like everything, like all the like creative projects, and like the weirdest thing you ask me, I'll do it. And I was really interested in that. Then I became like older, and I've got some like borders and kind of character, but in a good way. I was just growing as a person, so it changed. That's why I kind of grew on a different level to be a stylist and to have an opinion and create the projects and ideas.
Create your boundaries.
Yeah, but I've had unpleasant situation back in Moscow when I was like around 16 with some foreign photographer who we had a casting in the agency, and he saw me, and then he reached out to me and invited to his apartment. And because he was a foreign photographer, I was more excited because, he said that he had connections in the agencies, and, I was 16, I wanted to go abroad, and he was saying that he had, some friends at the IMG, and it's like one of the
IMG,
top agencies still. And it started like regular test shoot. Test shoot is like, when they just making some images in like your clothes, and it was just him and me. And he was like trying to kind of undress me during the shoot, and he was really asking me to go like topless. And I wasn't comfortable with that. I've never done that. And he was a man, like an older male guy in front of me, and I was 16, and I've never dated anyone at that time because I started later. And and it was just really uncomfortable. And then he kind of convinced me to take the top off, and I've had like some like white towel on my head, and I was kind of hiding like in a curtain, which was also sheer. And he was still pushing me to go further and to go kind of fully naked. And I told him that I'm not comfortable and I just want to go home and leave at that point. But then, when I came back home, he started texting me that I have to come back, and in order to be shown and to the IMG, he needs to have this nude images. Yeah, and I didn't tell my mom at that time, and because I was kind of ashamed, and it was really uncomfortable, and he started being a bit arrogant, and I just told him that I don't think that IMG wants naked images of the 16-year-old, and I told him to not show like anything like inappropriate. He, photographed me like topless or something, and I think he got scared, and he like I blocked him or something. But yeah, that was kind of like the only situation which was uncomfortable.
Do you remember his name?
No, I don't. And I tried searching in my mailbox, but I think it was a text message, and it was like on an old phone. But yeah, unfortunately.
But what will be your advice to girls who's, it's just like, I mean, with that situation, I feel like that 16 years old, it's just inappropriate just to ask for that. There are girls who are comfortable doing that. It's fine if they're in their conscious like mine and they make their own choice. It's okay, whatever, right? But this type of situation, just girls should like specifically build their boundaries. And
I mean, I think now you have more kind of security at this point, because you can always text your agent, especially in New York, like
if something goes
even
wrong,
like, because me being like on another side, like the agent always ask if the model is not comfortable with nudity or something, to not photograph her like in this situation. And like you always ask a model on set if she's comfortable or not, if there is some nudity, and you have to confirm it with the agent, because it's all about reputation. And if you go over those borders, then you can easily be sued, because if it's like written in an email, an agent usually they write it down. Like as a photographer, I think they kind of sign this like an agreement. So being a model in New York with the agency, you are more protected.
So
I mean,
just to go with an agency, that's a best way. If
yes, if you are without an agency, then it's more tricky. But I think you still can ask for an agreement beforehand. That's like actually a normal way kind of to do that, unless that's your close friend who you trust. But if you're scared, then you don't know who this person is, you can ask for this agreement. But usually you can just, I mean, even if the photographer is successful and everything, I think you still can ask for that. And that's normal.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Actually, you started your career so early. You went through a lot of things, and you've been at New York Fashion Week like in 2010, So you can actually see the transformation of fashion industry, of some rules for models, like for brands, and how the Fashion Week changed. I know you've been just in a Fashion Week like this season. Is there some dramatic changes you?
Yeah, of course. The industry changed a lot. Like, back then, there was a trend on actually Slavic models. There were a lot of blonde girls with the blue eyes, a lot of Russians, Ukrainian models, and it was a big trend on that. Now you can see a lot more diversity, and it's not just different nationalities, but also different types of bodies and ages. And it's like it is a positive change, in my opinion, as long as it stays in the healthy borders in terms of the body, because like either or is kind of too dramatic for me. Like regular sizes, like something which looks healthy. I think it's great, like, and how, like, there are models who can, pose after like the birth of a child or something, and you can see different kinds of bodies nowadays, and not everyone has a perfect body like after childbirth for
Yeah,
instance,
that's true.
like what was doing like Ashley Graham, for instance. She was like kind of showing so much on Instagram, which like I have a lot of respect to her for doing that, because she and like also like, you know, Instagram is helping in this way as well. But in terms of like fashion shows, I do really like the difference in the casting, and I was at one show where the casting was kind of like in the old times, and the models were all skinny and tall, and it's kind of boring, you know. I don't really want to see that anymore, because you know, you want to see like
Different
people.
It's so
Yeah,
fun.
like something
I
more
also like
real.
enjoy it so much now, and like different genders and different people and different body types, and this
Yeah,
is
I mean,
all so great. Diversity is amazing thing.
there's still standards in the industry, like, you know, in terms of like type of beauties and the way the girls appear on the camera, because not every girl still can be a model, because everyone photographed differently. But you know, it's still fascinating, like that. There's a lot more, you know, than we've seen like before.
Yeah. Is there any brands at this New York Fashion Week which impressed you specifically, or disappointed you, or something like caught your eye, and you've been thinking afterwards, like,
I really like this kind of new wave of like New York designers. I personally work with the brand called Grand Voyage, and I really love, like, you know, what she's doing and how she's developing. She is using the dead stock fabrics, and she's redesigning the vintage pieces. Besides that, I really like Kalina Strada and Elena Velez. Still like Puppets and Puppets,
oh, I know those guys too. Yeah.
Loire, Peter Doe, and you know, all this like kind of new wave of the designers. And I really love what Altazara is doing, actually, and how Gabriela Cafetta Johnson is styling it. It looks really great. Still love Frances Schooler and Tory Burch, actually. It's kind of more elevated. Kate, you know, it's like a different kind of style compared to like Kalino Puppets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's like a lot of new cool brands who kind of established themselves more or less, and yeah, I really like that, you know, like kind of young vibe. Or like Mariam Nasir Dadek, you know, she's doing really well, I think. Yeah, it's a like a great change, and really nice energy, and I enjoy like this season. I enjoyed the Fashion Week a lot.
You named so many brands which are just coming up. It's not like from the big companies we already have heard a lot.
Yeah, like Michael Kors.
Yeah, this is like something you expect to hear, like,
like
okay, in your
Ralph
Fashion
Lauren.
Week, but
Yeah.
now so many new brands came up, and this is amazing.
Yeah, but even like, you know, this season, like Marc Jacobs did the collaboration with Fendi, and Marni showed during the New York Fashion Week. So it's like Tom Ford.
So
He's
they
like
collaborate with younger brands.
I mean, yeah, like Tom Ford is managing the New York Fashion Week at the moment. So he, I think, is bringing this, like, you know, foreign designers and bringing back the New York Fashion Week on a certain level, because I remember, like, at some point it got, like, you know, pretty messy in a way that it was in the spring studios, and it was kind of boring, just showing the collections on a white background, and it was just a lot of small unknown designers, and it seemed like everyone could bolt their way to the fashion week, to the schedule, and it kind of got like amateur, in a way, and like all the big designers, they moved from the spring place and did it on a separate venue, so it was kind of like not cohesive, and I think now like the spring place kind of fell apart. There were some shows there, but I don't think it was like anything major, and it was unimportant kind of. And then like there's like this new designers which are growing, and they're like more established, and they're acquiring the New York Fashion Week, and the CFDA schedule became bigger and more solid.
Yeah. Is there anything disappointed you at this New York Fashion Week?
Yeah, there was a situation like which we discussed with some fashion insider, how TikTokers were selling the lists of the PRs, and they were basically just sending like tons of emails to them to get an invitation. And this was pretty wild because I think like a Marc Jacobs after party invitation got leaked in a TikTok, and like as hundreds of people just appeared at the venue, and the people who were like really invited could not get in. It was a huge line, and
I actually
there was a
saw
lot of
stories
crush.
of
Yeah.
Stefania. I think so. Like she was like in a
Yeah. And then I
like,
showed her that article, and I was like, "This is what really
Oh my
happened."
gosh.
It was just.
It's because of that.
Yes, it's because of that. Because invitation leaked, and yeah, that was.
Just like people who were invited, they couldn't get in.
They couldn't get in because like all these people, they've had like a fake invites, and they were just crashing that party. And I mean, there are crashers at every party, at every event. Like there's nothing kind of wrong with that, because we all kind of go through that stage. But when it comes to the masses, like when people can buy those contacts on TikTok, that's
crazy, actually.
That's crazy. Yeah, I
But
was like, they should go back to the paper invitations.
Oh wow! Actually, the whole industry is changing, and like we just also discussed in Stefania that influencers right now on the first rows with editors, and generally it's changing, and street style fashion stars, new people come up.
It is, but in my opinion, there are not that many influencers which really matter, and who like really helping with sales. And I think that the fashion editors still matter a lot, and some influencers, and some influencers who like really producing great content and investing in that. But that's like a new kind of sales outlet for every fashion brand.
Yeah, it's like I feel the influence the market, like it's still a wild west. It's just getting like some rules on set, but still there are like lots of things to fix, like and with advertising, with collaborations, and with ethics. I mean, people who work in fashion industry, they probably have huge experience being on those shows, but those people, they don't, and they just like.
Yeah, they don't, and they come to the show to take pictures and
they're
take
excited
videos.
to be there, like
But I mean, probably that's fine, but then.
Maybe some of them will learn and will grow, some of them will not.
Yeah, but
So
Fashion Week is not really like an entertainment event, in my opinion. I mean, it kind of became a sort of
Roots of that, I know.
yeah, the roots are not, and it, like, you do a fashion show because you wanna show your collection to the editors and to the buyers, and then it's a sales season as well. So right after the show, the collection goes to the salespeople, like either, you know, the showroom, or you do like your sales in-house, and, you know, travel from New York to Paris, and Milan, but mostly Paris.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about sales in the end.
So actually, we've been talking about also your career as a model. Then, as I know, you've been a little bit experienced being influencer. You've been working with some brands, but then you decided to be a stylist. How that transition happened? Why decided to?
I mean, you know, as I said in the beginning, when I was a teenager, I wanted to be a fashion editor. So, like, the modeling kind of happened because I love the fashion industry, and, you know, I looked like a model and I enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed, like, trying on like new collections, and being like in the industry. Yeah, but like, I think I enjoy more not really being in front of camera, although like I like that part, you know, to be seen. I do enjoy it, but I enjoy more to be kind of behind the scenes and playing with the clothes, and, you know, creating the image, working with designers, with the brands, and like, you know, help with storytelling in a way. So like then, like, you know, when I was here in New York, the Instagram was growing, and all this influencing appeared, and of course I tried, because I had this opportunity right in my hands. Like, there were just apps, and they
for
were
models who give you
and
things,
they were just offering stuff, and of course I was like, sure, I'll try, I'll do the video, I'll do the picture.
I will invite my friends with me to this event. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, and like, you know, I'll like receive products, and I love receiving gifts. I love receiving boxes, you know. So I did try it, but then I felt really artificial, just taking a picture of myself with the product, and, you know, telling some story about that, you know, cream or lipstick or whatever. And I felt that it's so odd, and I didn't really feel like this is me, because I just like, why am I selling this thing? Am I really liking it? Like, I didn't really choose it. I wanted to try it, but I don't really want to be a part of it. And, you know, like with styling, like I started from interning when, like after a year I came here, just because I want to be more involved in industry. And with the modeling, you have a lot of free time, like depending on the season.
So like, you started doing styling back when you've been modeling?
Yes. So, I mean, I started doing styling in school, basically. Doing modeling at the same time, and then I came here, and I just emailed the fashion director at Tatler, who lived here, and she still does. So she was kind of my, you know, liaison to the fashion here, and and I started like helping her when I've had the free time. And then I just reach out to more people and start helping more. And then I like started traveling to Europe as well, and just, you know, did my smaller shoots, you know, with friends in the beginning, and borrowing garments from brought students because I was a fit model there for some time, and just young designers. Like, yeah, it was fun. Then I transitioned to assisting here and there, and then
Started to do your own projects.
And started to do my own projects in the same time, and then it's kind of with experience internationally, I just overgrown the modeling and just started being someone bigger.
Yeah, what's your favorite part about? I feel like you are more like an entrepreneur, like when you're working with different brands as well, like with different clients, and you're in charge of all those processes, not only like on one part, like to be inspired, to create some visual board and to realize that, right? But it's also a lot of backstage work. How your daily routine looks like, how you're looking for your projects, maybe. This is some people say that sometimes it's just like people they know, they advise them.
Yeah.
Like with Stefani, we talk also.
Yeah. I mean, it happens to me as well in this way. Like people I know would recommend me, but I also just email people. Like, for instance, the designer I work with, Erin at Brand Triage, I just emailed her. We just had like one call and just came into her studio and just styled the whole collection, and that was
just one email. Wow.
It was the beginning of our work together, and she's just like, "Oh, you're so fast." Yeah. I mean, through photographers, through producers, and you slowly building this network, and I always try reaching out to new people, like new photographers, new magazines, new producers, directors, and like step by step, it's a process, and sometimes there are like slow down periods, and you're like, okay, I need to reach out to more people, I need to meet in person, like I need to like invite someone for a coffee, and it's kind of like a constant moving energy, because there's no guarantee the client would stay with you for ever. Like there's nothing forever, so you kind of constantly searching for new ones, but there are clients which are coming back, and that's
from season to season,
or like every week, every month, like there are different types of clients. And
what's your focus? So it's like more fashion editorial. Why that? I know like there are some different like stylists can be focused on cinematography, like on doing personal shopping, on Met Gala, celebrities. What's your favorite part in what you do?
I do really love like kind of like a high fashion so to say, in like an old kind of manner. Like a Vogue kind of level, and I think my biggest inspiration since my teenage years was John Galliano, and he was always about this high design, and I really appreciate the craft and how the things are made, and it's like it gives me a lot of pleasure to receive, and work with these garments and play with them as well, although like there are some restrictions like doing the tutorials. That's why it's cooler to work with the designers, because you can play around and do crazy things, and or like you can just be very artistic and just think like an artist and create the garments from something.
Which are those magazines, or what are magazines accept all your visual expressions and ideas. You told that some magazines, they have some policies.
Yeah, like more kind of commercial vibe, you know, like Elle or Harper's, or, you know, like something like those magazines. They have like a lot of advertisers. That's why they have to be like in the borders. But there are like cooler kind of younger magazines, like, I don't know, Document Journal, like Puss Puss, and the new generation of like sustainability, like, you know, direction magazines, like More or Less or Display Copy. And they want to see the editorials which are more artistic, and they based on like, you know, either like vintage pieces or like remade, like sustainably sourced or something. And you can like really play with those editorials because you have more space. There's no money from like, you know, advertisers. Like there's like no budgets or like less budgets, but the, you know, they're like you can express yourself as an artist, and like that you get hired for like big commercial jobs. So that's like an oddness of this industry. If you want to go to like a higher level, then you have to express yourself in a really interesting artistic way.
Wild
Wild, but still, you know, something which makes sense and have like an idea and a story, and just, you know, this whole
it's
picture.
Related to what is right now on the top of people's heads. Like actual sustainability.
Still beautiful, you know.
It
like
should be, definitely. Yeah, and like sustainability, it's a big topic right now. And you mentioned about vintage brands, right? And like this theme, is it something inspires you? I know that you had a project for UN last year and you won some prize with your sustainability project.
It was like, so Art Partner, it's an agency, and every year they do this contest called Copt, 26 last year, and now it's 27, I think, this year. And they, so it's basically like open to all people, below 30 years old, and you can win a prize or you can get the honorable mention, and your work would be exhibited in their like virtual exhibition. And my project got an honorable mention, and it was exhibited, you know, last year, and it was based on a lycra. So my idea was the material, and basically like tights, like all the hosiery made out of lycra, and it doesn't get recycled. So instead of throwing away your tights, I came up with the ideas of which kind of, you know, garments you can do and how you can use it in the household. Like, you know, you can like stock it with the onions, or you can wipe the floor, you know, with the tights, or you can do a little rug, or you can like, you know, do like a swimsuit or something. And that was awesome. Like the idea, and
they liked it.
They liked it, yeah.
Yeah, and the most important thing, you like it. So this something inspires you.
Yeah, this is something what inspires me, and I love doing projects based on like a problem I have, you know. And it's all kind of based on like daily life.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking about like such big projects, I know that recently at the magazine Numero, you had a publication with an actor, Kyle Maclachlan. Yeah, Twin Peaks who watched it.
Yeah.
Everyone knows, yeah. How was that? How did you get involved to that amazing
It was a long story which I can't really disclose fully, but
okay, just little part which you can.
yeah, but Kyle is one of the best humans and actor and just amazing person. And we shot this story in California, and it was quite magical, like the locations we've been at and the whole like colorful story we've had. We were shooting this in the first 2 days of like war between Russia and Ukraine, and
really?
that
It was right
really
there?
tough. Yeah, emotionally.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm from Russia and the photographer and the producer were from Ukraine, so it was really tough emotionally, and nobody kind of understood what's going on, and he was the one who was like very understanding, super calm, and it was a very interesting shoot in terms of psychological condition, but in the end images look so like happy
The
and
result, by the words, you cannot
beautiful.
say that. It was
Yeah, and
beautiful.
everyone loves it, and
the
he loved
idea?
it too. And yeah, the idea was, I mean, the photographer Sasha, he has kind of this documental style of photography, so we did have an idea, like usually how we work with him, like I have like a general like wardrobe idea of like that was kind of preppy and colorful because we were going to this sunny California and the gardens and the oranges and everything. Yeah, so we had the locations in mind because he was there, and we kind of like planned around like what we're gonna do. Yeah, and then like it just happened.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, congratulations with this shoot.
Thank you. Yeah, he's super nice. I would love to work with him again, and I really enjoy working with celebrities and actors and actresses.
So, what are you inspired to work on? Something you want to try in your styling? Some more celebrities or more red carpet?
Yeah, I would love to try like red carpet and some like fun kind of styling, like someone who's open for experiments and being cool and trendy and like play with like fashion basically, because
Like a personal stylist for celebrity.
Yeah, because there's like there's that much you can do for editorial, and it's still there are a lot of brands nowadays which are more suitable for real life than for editorial, and it just like there's so many ways to express yourself and just like play with this. It's insane. Like, I mean, of course it should be like a kind of like a upcoming, like uprising actress,
For example,
who's like open to to play
experiments.
to experiments. Yeah, I mean, like I don't really want to like say like who I really want, because I don't know.
I wish you, like, to reach out to this person, how you do.
Yeah.
To get it.
Maybe, yeah, I know.
Encouraging you to do that, and then after you can tell.
Right? Because it works. I was reading like somewhere, like in the social media, the story about one couple, and they work in fashion. They like art director and like photo editor or something, and every year they have like an annual tradition of reaching out to different photographers and inviting them to photograph their family in exchange of wine and a photo book. Like some cool photo book, but anyway, it's like their ongoing project, and they just reach out to people, like, and to like pretty big people basically. Wow. And yeah, like there's like, you always forget, and you sometimes have fears, you know, of like, oh, what this person is gonna think, you know, and some people, they don't respond to you, you know.
Yeah,
but
the fear of the cancer,
of rejection, yeah.
Right, yeah.
But I think it's still, you have to accept this fact that this person can reject you. Probably now, you know, they say no, tomorrow they can say yes, and you know, there's no shame in actually reaching out another time to the same person. Just, you know, having the borders in mind of like,
not
you know,
too often.
yeah, because it's annoying.
Yes.
But
sometimes
you always should try.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, I know that you also, as a journalist, you've been interviewing some people for Vogue, for GQ.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you reach your talents. So you just write them, right? Someone inspired you, you like listen.
Yeah, I like with interviews, I usually suggest the person to the editor. And if they approve, I would reach out to the talent.
Yeah, and you could also do some story about the person, but more from our artistic and fashion side, I understand, based on what you do. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I do like the talents who work in like art, fashion, or film, you know, just some creative field. More classy, I guess, but you know, open still to different realms. And yeah, I just, you know, reach out and
and see how it works. It's a good advice. Just don't afraid to be rejected, but just be polite, follow those ethical standards, but still you can sometimes like
and I think
remind.
It depends on your like emotional state too. Like sometimes I feel like I don't really want to reach out to anyone. Like, can someone reach out to me? But you know, some days I feel like, okay, why not? I'm just gonna try. I'll send an email that doesn't cost me anything.
Yeah, that's true. Wow. What would you advise someone who would love to pursue the fashion career in New York City as you do? Any piece of advice?
Yeah, start with internship. I think that's the most basic, and people wanna be, you know, on the first positions right away, but it is a useful experience to go, like, you know, through this ladder of like being an intern, run around, study the city, know where, you know, all the places are, you know, do the research, and just, you know, start with that, and then you grow to the assistant if you're interested in this job, because many people come and they think it's very glamorous, but in reality it's actually not, and that's why you have to start with internship just for yourself, to understand if you are built for this or not, because a lot of people actually not.
They think they're right.
They think they
watched
are.
Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
Actually, that was a nice shot of the actress Anna Wintour on this fashion week. It was just some
when
she repeated the same look as
yes, and Hotway sitting next to her. Yeah, so like cute. As her assistant.
Yeah, start with assistant, some internship assistant, and then you grow. Yeah.
I know a lot of people who actually stay assistants. They don't really want to grow through their own career because it's a responsibility.
Yeah.
And
Remember in this movie, actually, yeah, it's a lot of downsides. I mean, you just work a lot.
You work a lot, and you have to take a lot of responsibility in front of the client and provide them services. So you have a different level of responsibility, and it's actually a switch when you transitioning from assistant to a stylist yourself. Like you have to switch the roles, and it also takes time, and not everyone can do that as well. Like I've met some, assistants with who I worked, and we work together in the same team, and they're still assisting, and they are assisting on really good level, for really nice jobs with top stylists and top talents and everything. But to me, I really want my own. I'm interested in developing my own career, because you still have to go through these steps too when you go on your own.
Yeah, you're an artist, you're an entrepreneur, you're both, as I feel like when you're a stylist, because you still express yourself and you're creating a piece of art which will stay there. And at the same time, you're an entrepreneur because you need to reach out and to be responsible. You work with so many expensive pieces.
Yes.
And this is a lot of responsibility.
And money and clients' money.
Clients, team, and just don't mess up anything on the shoot because it's a big budget shoot, right? You need to prepare it.
Yes, and you grow as well. Nobody gonna trust you a huge campaign before you go through all this.
Through all this
steps. Yes.
Yeah. Any podcasts about fashion, about entrepreneurship, maybe, which inspires you? Sometime we want to listen something.
I read Business of Fashion, and I do listen to that podcast when I have time. And I like Wall Street Journal. So those are two main sources I have time for. And I mean, if there are any interesting articles or podcasts just popping up out of nowhere, I'll do that. And then I also really like that podcast called Red Scare. The host, Daria Nekrasova, she's an actress, and she was at Succession show. And Ana Tess, she's her friend, and they grew up in the States, and they have some Slavic roots. And it just really funny and direct. They're so brave to talk about those things like politics and some fashion and social things, just everything. They're not really afraid of being cancelled, and I have a lot of respect to them. They're not saying anything rude or aggressive. It's just funny the way they interact, and it's also like in conversation, with a cup of tea or something in the apartment, and they have some guests coming to their podcasts as well. It's just very real,
That's cool. Thank you so much for advice. Yeah, sure. I'll listen, actually. I'm curious.
Yeah, they
now.
have a really interesting episode on the Fashion Week, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely cool. What's your definition of success? It's my roundup. Little interview.
That's a tough question. I think I think I never stop growing. There's no kind of end point. because the end point is basically that. You're like I think in any point of your life, you are already successful. It's just a matter of, changing the decorations or some sort of like projects, different level. But I think in all these levels, you are already successful. Like you are successful now. It's just matter of ego. Like you want to go for more or you want to stay at this level. And I think it's kind of cool when you like growing and doing something and just moving with the flow, because the life is about the experiences, and you are experiencing different kind of levels and projects and responsibility, and it's always a question like, do I want to go deeper? Do I want to go to more responsibility, or I'm comfortable here at this space? And I like taking risks, so to say, and I like going deeper and taking more responsibility and going further and just, going with that flow.
Wow, I love it. And you have an amazing example of transformation. You went from Russia, you end up in the most expensive city in the world, in one
Right?
of the most. You made it here.
Living through ridiculous inflation right now.
I mean, yeah, and you also personally went through a lot of transformations, like professionally here. You tried things and you didn't give up, like you just try another things and you find yourself.
Yeah, I definitely found myself, but you never stop developing yourself, because there's so much inside of us, inside of like our soul and just experience. It kind of has no borders.
Yeah.
It just like our body has a border of end of life basically, but in this lifetime you just want to experience different things and leave the fears behind. Just go for it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I wish you to go like that amazing way and to experience so many things. I'm sure in your career
Thank
there'll
you.
be so many, and maybe we'll speak later
Thank
about
you.
new projects.
Yes, it is exciting to talk
It's so
about
exciting.
everything.
Yeah, it's just so many topics. Thank you so much being with me today here.
Thank you for having me.
Like having a thoughtful conversation about different things and aspects of your career, of your experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
How people can find you?
They can find me on Instagram. My name is Ana Tess, and
Okay, welcome.
they can go there.
Thank you so much also for watching. Subscribe to our channel, Instagram. If you have any questions, please reach out, and see you next time.